Need you on the show too, brother.
All right, we are getting there. Make sure we're live on IG. Okay. All right, let's start from the top now.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Friday evening. Another KFTV Bleacher Report simulcast. CP the franchise in the building. Salute to everybody in the chat. You guys know the deal, man. Like, share, and subscribe. Today's show, we are going to break down this Jalen Brunson ankle injury with our guy, Dr. Philip McDonald. Diehard Knicks fan.
Yes, sir.
And he wears many hats, man. He's the owner of Primetime Radiology, a sports medicine radiologist. You've seen him on NBA TV breaking down various player injuries. He's also the owner of the LA Ignite of the TBL, aka the Basketball League, as well as the creator of the X-Rated Sports Network, man. Plus, is Tom Thibodeau on the hot seat. We're going to get into Worst Take and react to Stephen A. Smith's comments on the whole Mikal Bridges, Tom Thibodeau situation. So we're going to have a fun show today, man. Hit us up on the KFTV Discord. And as usual, like, share, and subscribe. Let's get it going, man. Let me turn this down. All right, man. Dr. McDonald, how we doing, man?
I'm good, CP. Great to be on the show, brother.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to connect, man. I definitely appreciate the time. And a diehard Knicks fan out there on the West Coast. How does that work?
Sir.
How does that work for you, first and foremost, man? How does that work?
It's great because the games start at 4 o'clock when they're playing at home.
Yeah.
So I'm able to knock my workout. It's still daytime. It's still fly outside. But, I love the weather of California. I'm able to work anywhere in the world. But, New York is always my home, born and raised, money earning Mount Vernon.
Money earning Mount Vernon. Salute,
yes, sir.
Man. That's Alex's territory, man. Shout out to KFTV Alex. That's his hood, man.
Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So I'm holding it down, though. I'm holding it down. I just got my Jeff Hamilton Knicks gear.
Bro, I saw that. Yo, shout out to Jeff Hamilton. Been loving his jacket since the beginning, and I saw that you and your lovely wife went to the Laker game and
yes,
pulled up. How did that happen? The connection with Jeff Hamilton.
Man, so my wife, man, she's all over. Like she sings in so many different rooms, and we were at a Cedric the Entertainer's one of his charity events, and he was sitting at our table. So Jeff Hamilton was, and so we connected from there. He and his wife Judy. Really good couple, really good family, really good people. So he said he's going to design my own custom LA Ignite Jeff Hamilton jacket, as well as the X-Rated Sports Network Jeff Hamilton jacket. And then while I was there designing it, I was like, I got to pick up these Knicks jackets. So he has some in the back. And so we had it just in time for the game against the Lakers.
That is sick. Yeah, I'm showing it right now. I'm pulling it up right now on the show. Your wife, Jeff Hamilton. That's crispy. One of my guys also has that jacket, but man, that's crazy. So now you go to the Laker game. This is last week. You go to the Laker game. Knicks are killing. They doing a damn thing. Gets into a crunch time scenario because Luka starts getting it popping and LeBron as well. Now it's Captain Clutch time. Now it's Jalen Brunson time. He starts going in, and then all of a sudden, he goes down with a debilitating ankle injury, man. Now, as someone like you, sports medicine doctor, radiologist, did you see it at a good angle in person? Did you have to see it up close and personal?
I saw it.
What'd you think, man?
We were like center court, 100 level. I was, by the way, treating my uncles out to see the game because they actually are from California and they're talking all that trash to me because they're Laker fans.
Of course.
So we were going back and forth. And, at the end of the day, I was just glad we went to overtime. I wanted that win. But when he fell, I was just like, okay, it was tough to see because he wasn't getting up.
Yeah.
He had too much pain. He needed assistance. He wasn't really walking on his own power. And then when he was, it just looked very painful. So I was fearing that there was a fracture involved, that it may be like a grade 2, grade 3. But after some further testing, obviously an X-ray showing that there was no fracture, it was easy to say that was more like a grade 1, grade 2, lower ankle sprain. Because, most Knicks fans are scared of that high ankle sprain because we dealt with that with Jamal Crawford back in the day when he had that. And, with a high ankle sprain, you're done. You're pretty much out for the rest of the season at this time of the season. So Luckily, what happened was it was more of an inversion. He rolled his ankle, and those are usually ligaments that are involved with the ankle mortise. And the main one to be concerned about is the anterior talofibular ligament,
Mm,
ATFL, we call it for short. And that one is usually the one, the culprit that's sprained. And so a grade one injury is like if it just swells up. A grade two would be like some partial tearing.
mm,
Grade three could be like full thickness tearing as well as possibly a fracture. In this case, I believe because they gave him like a 1 to 2 week limit,
mm,
more so leaning on the 2 week to 3 week limit,
mm,
I would say this is more of a grade one.
mm.
Um, they're also going to be cautious with it. They're going to ramp up his activity as he starts able to bear weight on it and get some shots. But I wouldn't be too concerned. I immediately thought of it as a blessing in disguise.
Hmm.
If this happened 2 weeks later, I'd been pissed. I would have been, I don't know what what I would have done in
Hmm.
terms of our chances. But I was encouraged that he was able to walk on his ankle with his own power. He did need some assistance and looked very painful. But all in all, I think, you know, Jalen will be back when we need him.
Yeah, that's definitely a great sign. And as the Knicks say, hopefully by next week we'll get some updates. The way the Knicks like to do things, they like to ramp guys up, get them running, then putting some pressure on it, then getting into full 5-on-5. So, we'll see what that
Exactly.
timeline looks like. How would you compare? Were you familiar? Because last night they're going to be playing the Golden State Warriors on Saturday.
Yep.
Last night,
Yep.
Jonathan Kuminga made his return in the Golden State game. Were you familiar with his ankle sprain? Like, how would you compare the two?
Yeah, I mean, based off how long he was out since like
A month.
January 6th. Yeah, January, like early January, he was out with his ankle sprain.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of shocked me because I was just like, man, this guy's young. He's not coming back. So
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely like a grade two, grade three.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a grade three, it might be some more issues with him. So I think it's more of a grade two lower ankle sprain. I don't think it's a high ankle sprain.
Mm-hmm.
But I immediately thought of him as well because I was like, the Golden State Warriors going to be pretty dangerous once he comes
For
back and
sure.
they get him in the mix. So. But yeah, that's one person I thought of, and most recently Cooper Flag. So we'll be able to
Mm.
kind of gauge, you know, what it'll look like. But Jalen has had some foot issues in the past,
Mm.
and he's come back from those. I believe he knows how to navigate it. Once you get a little bit more range of motion going, he should be able to navigate and see what he can and cannot do.
Mm.
The only problem is that with his game, it's a lot of pivoting. It's
Right.
a lot of
Right.
like stop and go. He's very shifty, and he needs to be at least 80%, I would say, to be functional.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if this is more of a physical therapy or PT question, but in terms of like ramping up and strengthening that area to get back to, because as you say, he's a cutter. He likes to pivot a lot. His footwork is immaculate. What type of strengthening do you see them kind of using with him to build him back up?
Yeah, that's more of a physical
PT.
therapist type
Yeah.
of question,
Yeah.
but there's it's pretty much you have to go by the player. You really got to see what they can tolerate. And a lot of the tests that they do will see where the range of motion is
Mm.
and see if, now can you bear weight? Now can you play five? Can you guard? Do you have lateral mobility?
Mm.
And so they have a whole slew of exams, of tests, of stuff that they can put them through. So he's going to be put through the whole gamut. And I think 2 week limit is accurate.
Mm.
I think they're being cautious though. And it might even be three. But I think when does playoffs start exactly?
So the end of the season will be April 12th or 13th, and then the playoffs, because they've automatically qualified for the play-in, but they're not going to be there. The playoffs actually start Friday the 19th and Saturday the 20th, or Saturday the 19th and Sunday the 20th. That's Saturday,
Oh
Sunday
yeah,
of
he's good.
April. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
good. Yeah, I'm just praying that nothing else happens. I don't want them to rush him back.
yeah,
He starts playing those Thibodeau minutes, and then you know, might lead to something else unnecessarily. So
yeah.
he might be on a minutes restriction.
For sure, for sure. We're definitely going to speak on those Thibodeau minutes in a bit. So to everybody in the chat, once again, man, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Another Knicks Fan TV Bleacher Report live stream. We are with Dr. Philip McDonald, a.k.a. Dr. X. You can catch him on Instagram at Dr. X, Dr_X_ prime time, and also the creator of the X-Rated Sports Network. Now, you had mentioned that, and a lot of people see it this way as a potential blessing in disguise, this type of injury, because we're now seeing as this team tries to navigate the rest of the season or close to it without him, guys are stepping up. Mikal Bridges has been in the crosshairs. Karl Anthony Towns has been having some good games. OG Anunoby as well. So what's been your overall thoughts on this team since the injury in terms of how they're playing on this road trip?
As I said, I kind of looked at it as a blessing in disguise. When I was at the game, what's funny is I was sitting two seats behind Thad Fauci, who's Mitchell Robinson's agent,
Mm-hmm.
and I spoke to him after the game, and he was like, "Yeah, they're trying to ramp up his activity and get him going." At first, when I heard Cat was coming, I was like, "No." I guess everybody was wondering whether or not Mitchell Robinson would eventually be there by trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
As time went on, it's like we saw that we needed him, but we needed a healthy Mitch. But now I'm just wondering, like, is there any world where I guess it depends on the matchup, but is there any world where Cat and Mitch start together?
Yeah.
And to me, I'm just like, it's a win-win because if we even experiment with that, just throw them in the fire and we take some L's, it's all good because we only drop down to fourth.
Right.
I know they don't want to play that game, they don't want to say they're playing that game, but we know ultimately that all teams play this seeding game when it comes down to it. And if they go 4-5, they can possibly play the Cavs in the second round, which I think is probably a better matchup because they're not proven when it comes to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And we've beaten them 2 years ago, but pretty much the same squad plus, Hunter and maybe Ty Jerome. So I'm just thinking like, I wish they would experiment with that lineup and get Mitch more acclimated to the crew, as well as I think they need to. I think when we talked about Mikal Bridges, and I know we're going to talk about Tom Thibodeau. I feel like Mikal Bridges was more advocating for the bench players to get their confidence up.
Mm-hmm.
So if called upon, they could fill in, as well as like give some guys some rest in this last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mitch has been big, man. I mean, even in this small stretch on this West Coast trip, their defensive rating has improved with Mitchell
Yep.
Robinson. And you see it statistically, but you could also see it with the eye test. Like when he gets in, the pace slows down a bit. Now, I mean, Portland, they're a young, scrappy team, and so they gave the Knicks a little bit of problems, but especially against Sacramento, and he even played in that Laker game, and you saw his impact immediately. You saw his impact
Absolutely.
immediately as a paint deterrent, as a guy who he was getting after a couple block shots here and there. He's securing some good rebounds. He's much needed, man. So I'm with you because the ultimate test is going to be how Towns and Mitch coexist in longer stretches of these games, and if the Knicks can actually have some advantages going with the two big lineup. Because Towns alone is not going to do it for you. But with the two of those guys, I think that changes a lot for these teams defensively.
Yeah, I think it opens up Towns' game, and I think it's the same thing that Anthony Davis was complaining about. Like he felt better as a four man, a stretch four, because he'll dominate most fours. He moves fast enough to like, and one of the other biggest parts of defense is rebounding.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
having Cat in there, like, because Mitch is more of a shot blocker, he's more of a deterrent. And I just feel like you got to secure the rebound, as we saw in the game yesterday. So I feel like having Cat and Mitch, getting them acclimated. And I also feel like the guys in the wings, the reason why they're not defending the three as much, because if they defend too hard, they're gonna take the ball in to the paint,
Yeah,
and they're gonna put Cat in pretty much like foul trouble all the time.
all day.
So they're probably lagging off to make sure that they don't, they can defend as a team. But now with Mitch there, they can probably defend harder on the outskirts of the 3-point line and kind of push them to, run them off the line.
Yeah, true.
So yeah.
Good points. Good points there, man. Now, a lot was made after this Portland game, a wild game, over 40 lead changes. But this one was the Mikal Bridges game, man. He started the game off calling out Thibs and the minutes and finished the game with a buzzer beater in a way that I thought, in true Knick fashion, it could only go down that way because only the Knicks tell those type of stories in sports, with the drama and everything behind it. 33-point effort from Mikal Bridges. It looked incredible, man. What was your take on Bridges and Bridges without Jalen Brunson so far?
Well, I was saying the same thing. I was like, this is the Mikal Bridges game. And what's funny is like, Christmas Day, we were in Jamaica. Excuse me, we were in Jamaica watching that game. We were in some sports bar on a resort. And I was with some Knicks fans, but there's two types of Knicks fans. There's like Knicks fans that are like the eternal optimists. That's me. Like I always like see the silver lining. Like,
Yeah,
okay, this could happen too. They could probably pull it out. No
yeah.
signature wins, we could probably still win it all. And then there's that Knicks fan that won't believe, nah, this is gonna mess up again. This is gonna happen. Dolan this, Dolan
They're gonna
that.
blow
No
it.
matter what you do, exactly. So, but they're still a fan though, and they'll probably be that fan that turns it off when it goes bad,
Yeah,
and then find out later that we won. I saw that
yeah,
on your story.
yeah. Shout out to Michael White, man. We had to air him out for that.
Exactly, exactly. But I mean, I felt like Mikal Bridges, it was almost like that San Antonio game on Christmas Day.
Hmm.
And he was, that's when Josh Hart was like, you got to write that apology letter. Everybody that was doubting him. I like Mikal Bridges. I feel like he's gonna, he's been in a little bit of slump,
Hmm.
but we see that he has that confidence, he has that edge, and that's what we want. And I just kind of want to see them as a team, like stop leaving guys open for threes, and I
Yeah.
really want them to work on that because last year I think they were ranked like top three or, for defensive efficiency
Hmm.
in terms of like preventing the 3-pointer. And I think
Hmm.
that's what made them a really good team because they were cutting a lot of people off with even, getting in the lead like that, and especially with a team like the Celtics. There were several games this year where it was the 3-pointer that killed us.
Sure,
Like with
sure,
Oklahoma City, you had
sure.
Wiggins. I think was it him who went for
Yeah,
eight
Wiggins
three
went
pointers,
crazy. Yep, Wiggins went
and
crazy.
then
Then
I think
Isaiah
Isaiah
Joe
Joe,
at the
yep,
Garden.
for the other one.
Yeah,
I'm like,
absolutely.
these guys should be shut down. Like, at least put a hand in the face. That's all I'm saying. They
Yeah,
don't. They look at people shooting threes now from the first game of the season with the Celtics. So that's what really has me pissed off the most. And I hope that will be helped with Mitchell Robinson now there, and hopefully the wings. I just thought that when they were talking about these wing defenders, I thought that OG and Mikal Bridges would have blocked all that up. And I'm not sure if I'm seeing that love, like that Kawhi Leonard type of defense
yeah,
that we're
yeah.
used to seeing.
Yeah, it hasn't been there, and I think that's what has a lot of Knicks fans disappointed, even from opening night, man. Opening night when we got crushed by the Celtics, you're like, yo, what
That was
happened?
tough.
We gave them the nickname Wing Stop, and
Yeah.
now they're getting fried. So,
Yeah.
you definitely want to see
I like
that.
that.
You definitely want to see that limit in limited spurts. I think OG's been encouraging. It's been great to see him playing. I thought even in the Blazer game, he's been playing well on both ends of the
Mhm.
floor. He's starting to get his shot back. You're seeing him have a bit more bounce to his game, a bit more confidence as well. So that's good to see. Now with Bridges, we're going to talk about this on the next segment when we play the Stephen A. Soundbite. But
Yeah.
what I said after the game against Portland was that clearly this is an adjustment phase for him. And getting used to a new role on the defensive side, new role offensively, where sometimes he could be like down at a fourth option when you factor in that Brunson has the ball in his hands a lot, Towns does, Josh Hart does at times, and sometimes maybe it's even OG. So he has a lot of adjusting to do, but clearly as the guy who typically takes on the hardest assignment, the speedier, quicker player on the offense. Maybe it's it's on Thibs, it's on Bridges, and even Brunson to figure out how to get him going early so that he's activated defensively and engaged for the entire whatever he's playing 40 minutes or so in a game.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that approach. Yeah. I think Mikal, it's like, his go-tos already. It's always like he dribbles, he tries, it's almost like CP3. He tries to get that little fadeaway
Yeah,
right in the paint, the elbow areas, the baselines, and then he loves that quick release baseline three. And for game winners, he loves top of the arc, as you can see. So
insane. But to me, it was just refreshing to see because I know a lot of fans. We hear from a lot of fans, man. The 5 picks, can't believe
five
we
picks.
did
All you
that.
hear is 5 picks.
It was just good. I love when he does have those games to really see you can't judge this trade just yet. You gotta let these guys figure it out. But at the end of the day, this is the talent that Leon Rose wanted to go out there and get. Now the hardest part is how to make it all come together. And you got all the ingredients. How do you blend it into a proper meal that is satisfactory? And that's the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if this PJ Tucker effect is it like
Yeah.
is he like the James Johnson of the squad now?
Right,
Thibodeau.
right. He must be, man. He must be like the Udonis Haslam effect. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I mean, but is he gonna play? Because I think,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it unless it's like super garbage time, knowing Thibs.
so
But
why did they get him, you think, if they're not going to play him?
I think it's this. I think it's a locker room effect. It has to be.
Yeah.
Because to have a player that you're just going to sit there and park, I mean, certainly in an emergency situation, he's a guy with veteran experience that you can go to. He can shoot the corner three. He'll play tough. He'll play an undersized five for a team that's already undersized. But, I think it's more so, look, this is the 15th roster spot. Let's bring in a guy that could push these guys a little bit in a way that the coach might not necessarily be able to. Or the coach, a guy that's more relatable to the players, has that respect of the locker room, won a ring already. And as we go through the dog days and ultimately into the playoffs, a guy that can help us, especially mentally, get through that mental endurance challenge.
Definitely. Now, I like the pickup. I'm just curious about people like TJ Warren,
Yeah.
like dropping all these points in G League games, which I know most NBA players will do. But I'm sure he did that to play himself into shape. So I
Right.
mean, that guy's a bucket. Like, why isn't he there? Tyler
Yeah.
Kolek, like he was tough. I feel like he lost some confidence. Like,
Mm-hmm.
early in the year, whenever he played, summer league earlier in the year with in the NBA, the G League, he's getting buckets. Now when he comes in, I haven't seen him as much, but it's just like he doesn't look like, he's not getting a minute. So we don't
Mm-hmm.
know if he's game time ready.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm saying this is the perfect time to get these guys game time ready.
It was a head scratcher, man. TJ Warren was definitely at the top of my list because I felt like they needed some wing depth to be able to give Mikal Bridges adequate rest, to give Josh Hart and even OG some adequate rest. There's a veteran here. He's a veteran who could put the ball on the floor and score. And then to a second extent, Keke, somebody who could play the wing. He's tough. He can play some defense at the next level. Not the best offensively. You're not going to get much from him, but somebody who could give you minutes. And then also you had Moses Brown. And
Yeah. We just gave him to Dallas.
gave him to Dallas, right? But then they can't afford to bring him back until April, just based on the CBA rules. So now he's at the back of the G League, just putting up double doubles. But I think it's interesting, man. Like, because remember, Moses Brown, he had a chance with Indiana, went to the Pacers for one night, did his damn thing, did a double double. The next day he got waived. So I don't know. I just think it's hard to call it in the NBA, man, on what these teams are looking for, how they're looking to invest the finite resources that they have. Because even like a Moses Brown, like you don't see anybody else in the league going to get him right now. TJ Warren has been in the G League. He has no commitments. He could have been snatched by any of the 30 teams.
Yeah. It's confusing.
It's
to
confusing.
See.
It really
But
is. Man.
we should give it up to Landry Shamet because he's been playing like I was so sad when he caught that shoulder injury
Yeah.
and he came back from that. And then he's getting into his rhythm now. He's a little
Sure.
more confident. He's even shooting some mid ranges now. He's
Yeah.
taking his time. He's playing defense,
Much
which
better.
Thibs likes. So I feel like he's going to be a really key piece moving forward for our bench.
Yeah, Shamet has been much better, and that's certainly promising. McBride has stepped his game up as well. What have you thought about McBride, man, and filling in for Brunson?
Oh, I love McBride. One of my boys were in a fantasy league together, so he picked him up for that Laker game.
Yeah,
So he did, I get embarrassed with him sometimes because this fan's everywhere, bro.
yeah,
Every time he shoots, dude, it's
yeah,
brick, brick. So I was waiting for him to have that game, and so he came through. Which game was that he had like
he had a monster
was
game
it
against Sacramento. He had 15 points in the
Sacramento?
first
Yeah. So
quarter.
I was happy for him. And I was like, this is what he needs right here. Because we know he's a dog. Earlier in his career, I felt like wonder how good he would have been if he got more minutes back then. But now he has opportunity, so there's no
Yeah,
excuses. So I think defense is where he hangs his hat usually. And I'm kind of glad to see that he's getting some assist in there, showing that he's a point guard before. That's what he used to do. But yeah, Deuce is definitely a fan favorite, and I'm really happy he's getting some minutes and able to get his rhythm right, right in time for playoff time.
for sure. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. CP the Franchise. I'm here with Dr. Philip McDonald, a.k.a. Dr. X, in the building. Talking some Knicks, man. Knicks taking on the Golden State Warriors on Saturday. After this show at about 8:45, we will have our Game of the Week preview. The Tradcast, the Alex Ritaros will be in the building, and we will be talking Knicks versus Warriors. On the YouTube side, salute to my franchise channel members, man. Hit that salute icon in the chat. Let me know that you guys are in here. Life of a Leo, what's good for the peace? JJ, my 2 cents. Courtney J, salute. Fabian, I see you in here, salute. Okay, all right, let's get to it, man. Worst take. Worst take, man. This is a popular segment on the show,
like
Dr. Phil, man. A popular segment of the show. And on worst take, we go around the NBA landscape and podcast sphere and react to the Knick takes that are out there, of which there are many and a lot of bad ones. So on this episode, Stephen A. Smith, the new $20 million man. He's been everywhere. He's all over the place, making himself be heard. He reacted to the controversy between Mikal Bridges and Tom Thibodeau. So I'm going to play the soundbite. I'm going to play the exchange between Stephen A. and Big Perk, and then I want to get your thoughts on it. All right, so here's Stephen A. This is courtesy of Worst Take. First Take, actually, on Worst Take. Here's Stephen A. starting it off. Here we go.
Tom Thibodeau is in trouble. He's in a world of trouble. I don't give a damn that the New York Knicks are 6-1 in overtime games. I don't care that Mikal Bridges, but so, of course, because I'm a diehard Knicks fan and he won the game last night. Molly, Big Perk, prior to the game, Mikal Bridges revealed he had a private meeting with Tom Thibodeau about the starters playing too many minutes and the bench playing too little.
All right, I'm going to pause it here because he basically explains Bridges' quote and he explains Thibs' quote. So I'm going to pick it back up to his thoughts on it. Here we go.
Player that the Knicks sent 5 picks away for to bring to New York to pair with the superstar for the team, Jalen Brunson, his former teammate at Villanova, okay, saying something opposite that the coach is saying when everybody and their mother knows that Bridges is right. And here's where Bridges has the credibility. Molly, Perk can testify to this. He's one of the Iron Men of the league. He's always playing. He doesn't miss games, and he doesn't play minimal minutes. And Perk, when? Because we know I got a whole bunch of stuff. I know I do NBA Countdown with you, but I got a lot of stuff to do, okay? I'm not on the NBA every moment of every day like you are. Big Perk, when have we ever heard Mikal Bridges complain about anything, let alone minutes? That's not the same page. That's not a good look for the New York Knicks. And if you got to choose between a player and the coach, under these circumstances, when you're looking at players being worn out, Mikal Bridges ain't say that for himself, y'all. He's speaking for the team. And Tom Thibodeau says it didn't happen? That's a bad sign. It's a bad sign. It's a bad sign.
But S.A., in Tom Thibodeau's defense, did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said in his interview to Mikal Bridges' comments? He basically pointed out that when you look at the top guy on their team that's playing the most minutes, I believe it was Jalen Brunson. I think it was. Okay. He's knocking at the door. He's top 20 in the league. And then he pointed out that his wings, yes, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, if you look over the last month and a half or so, their minutes have went down to 36 minutes a game. And he also talked about the pairing and why OG and Mikal Bridges play so many minutes, because they're quote unquote elite wing defenders. So if you're playing against a Jason Tatum or playing against a LeBron James or Jaylen Brown, and those guys are playing 40 minutes, 9 times out of 10, the coach are going to match those minutes. You have to.
All right. So that was Stephen A. and that was Big Perk. So let's tackle this in 3 parts. First, Stephen A.'s take. Is Thibs in trouble? Did you think this was a big deal, an indictment on Tom Thibodeau in terms of his tenure with this team? What do you think about that?
No, I think Thibs is safe. They knew what they were getting when they got Thibs. I believe this was really just Mikal Bridges advocating for the bench, as well as advocating for himself. To get some rest, and he probably thinks that he might be able to perform better if he's not guarding the best player or guarding point guards, because he's the one, as you said, taking up that assignment. He's guarding that player and then has to come back on the other end and be a threat. So I don't think he's in a world of trouble. I think guys got to be careful with how they word things. Like, he could have just kept that in house. He probably could have went to Tibbs again. He probably didn't have to go that deep into what he thinks should happen and just, maybe he said it to Tibbs in passing. That's how I see it in my head. If I don't really look at Tibbs as a liar, I hope he wouldn't do that to one of his players. I don't see like Mikal Bridges knocking on his door, sitting down. They're both in the office. He has a conversation specifically about that, and then now Tibbs says we never had that conversation. He might have like fudged it a little and be like, we spoke about it briefly, maybe something like that. So maybe he did say it in passing. Maybe he said it in a huddle. Maybe he said it, but I don't think he's in a world of trouble. I think Mikhail mentioned it. I don't think Thibodeau thought that it was that serious, that it was going to be a national topic. Um, so yeah, I think world of trouble is a little too strong.
Yeah, I do think that is, Stephen A. just Stephen A. and things. I don't think he's in a world of trouble. I agree with you 100% that this organization knows what they were getting into when they signed up for it. The minutes, the performance of the players, how they're doing, from the top down, they're locked in. They're paying attention. So it's not like, they're just letting Thibs do Thibs and everybody's just standing off of the sides. No, everything that he's doing is being monitored. From the performance of the players, the performance of the team, to the minutes. They went out there and got one of the best sports medicine personnel from the Dallas Mavericks. I believe his name was Casey Smith. He came with high regard. This was a hire from the top, above Leon that came in here, from what I was told. So they're in lockstep in terms of, managing the players, their health, their well-being, and also in terms of what the coach is doing. I do, should he have kept it in-house? Yeah, I agree. He seems like a guy that's a bit more open and maybe not really understanding the nature of the New York media in terms of how they'll, put things and how it could kind of get you in trouble. So maybe he'll learn from that going forward. I agree with you in that he was advocating for himself and he knows his body best. So Thibs should listen, take heed to what he's saying, because this guy knows his body. He wants to keep himself fresh. But also in that article, he spoke about, or what you would think, he kind of alluded to some frustration with his role in the offense. And I think that's also something that Thibs should take heed to, because, look, this is a big investment that you made here. And as I said earlier, it's going to be on Thibs, Brunson, and Mikal to figure out how to optimize his impact on this team when you have so many mouths to feed and so many guys that need the basketball in their hands. So I don't necessarily see friction between player and coach as a bad thing. We've seen it throughout the history of this league and how teams who, on their ascent to the top, I think it's needed. I like a little adversity for this team for guys to grow. You know what I mean? You're an owner in team sports. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree as well. I think Thibodeau has tough skin, so he could take that. It didn't sound like it was anything, that everybody knows this already about Thibs. Like, we didn't find anything out that was new. I think the media loved it because they were like, oh, see, the players weren't saying anything about it. Most players just want to play, want to be out there. And so they're not going to say anything. But, now that they have a player to latch it onto, they could stir the pot and make it look like it's something more than it is. But it's what you sign up for when you agree to become a New York Knick. It's he's an Iron Man. He's never missed a game. He plays at a high level for a lot of minutes. He's I would say I think Mikal Bridges also has tough skin. He's a Philly guy, right? Right, as well, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, you gotta say what you mean what you say. At the end of the day, Tibbs is gonna do what he's gonna do. I believe it's always good to get your opinion out there and see what happens with it. I think only good can come from this. Maybe they'll split the difference, and hopefully the Knicks will also like see that there's certain games coming up where perform better, so that you can give the bench the opportunity to come in a little earlier.
Yeah.
But even with that, they will be up 30 and you'll still see starters in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you guys know what could happen in 1 minute? Like, as you saw in the overtime game. But
right.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't think I don't think it's going to be an issue for us going forward. I only think it'll make us stronger. As you said, this is good for the team. Probably something we needed.
To me, man, the pressure on Tom Thibodeau is not going to be what players complaining. It's going to be how these guys fare in the playoffs this year, and like if they don't meet expectations, the seat's going to get hotter and hotter just naturally. Those are just
Yeah.
expectations that come with the investments that you make in the roster and the expectation that the coach that you have can maximize the talent and help them win. And in sports, the easiest thing to change when you're looking for a change is the head coach. You know what I mean? And so James Dolan already went on the Roommates podcast saying that, look, this team, as far as the big moves, they're pretty much locked in, at least for now. You could take it at surface level, but at least for now, they're pretty much locked in. And so when push comes to shove, I would say that by next year, if they're not on a good track and pacing well as a true championship contender, I think he will be on the hot seat, and they'll look to make a change to find the guy
Yeah.
who can take this team to the next level.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, I love Tibbs, but sometimes you can lose the locker room, and if you feel like they hit their ceiling and they're not getting better, like one of the things, one of the, I want to say it's the worst take. It's probably the take that made me feel kind of hurt my soul a little bit when DeMarcus Cousins was like, it's like we put
It's a college
a
team.
championship college team together.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, yo,
yeah,
I ain't gonna front. It made me think a little bit.
yeah.
I think it was a little disrespectful,
Sure.
but I think sometimes you need to hear something like that to kind of look in the mirror and see like, okay, where are we lacking? Like why signature wins?
Yeah.
Why is it not even close in
Not even
signature
close.
games?
Yeah, yeah.
Why are we getting embarrassed? Why does it look like we are the JV team playing against the varsity when we play against those three teams, which is, Boston, OKC, and Cleveland. And Cleveland came out of nowhere. I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have them as my top four team in the East, but it's undeniable that they're a different team than they are. So I mean that's encouraging too. As the eternal optimist, I'm like, hey, that could be us. Like even before they added DeAndre Hunter, they had that same team that we beat. Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think a big addition who they didn't really, it wasn't really an addition, but he was hurt. Ty Jerome, that boy Ty Jerome was
Ty
balling
Jerome.
out. He was balling
Yeah.
out, and he was
He
kind of
was.
just sitting in the cut, injured. He didn't play last year, and he's been a world beater. He's definitely most improved candidate. And then the Hunter, you got those two guys. They were teammates at UVA.
Yep.
Hunter, man, off the bench to me, he's sixth man of the year, and that just makes him even stronger.
Yep. 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 But yeah, back to that Tibbs comment. I don't think he's a world of trouble. I think it's good for the team. I think Mikal Bridges is going to build off of this performance, hopefully. And, ultimately, it's like, it may not be your night every night, but I just want them to really lock in and defend, get that grit back.
Yeah. It's gonna be key. Now, Perk said that, which was factually accurate, that the minutes have been going down as of late for all of them collectively. But then he also noted that Thibs mentioned in that press conference that he's matching up, essentially, in lesser words, like he's matching up. So when the premier player is out there for the other team, he's putting Mikal, he's putting OG out there, and so on and so forth. I mean, what do you think about that? From I guess a coaching philosophy that he's like, yo, listen, if those guys are playing those minutes, I'm matching up to make sure I put my best guys out there.
I mean, it makes sense. It's more of like a playoff thing. It's all about the matchups, especially in the playoffs. I think it's more of a playoff thing. I think right now you got to be kind of looking at like, hey, if you want some of your best players to get experience and get cooked by Shea, let them get cooked by Shea. Like it's all good. It's like it's a learning process.
Yeah.
It's your welcome to the NBA moment. So I think some of these guys need that. Pacome Dadier, Hope Porter. Like why do we
Kolek.
even draft these guys?
Kolek. Yeah.
Yeah, Kolek, exactly. Like
Yeah.
why do we even draft these guys if we're not going to play them? Just give away your draft picks like we did to get Mikal Bridges. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm
Right.
just like, just put them in the fire. This is the time to do it. As I said, we have nothing to lose. We dropped the four. We still have home court advantage. We see the Cavs in the second round. Let's go. We're not trying to avoid anybody, but I'm just saying, like, that's the silver lining. Get your people ready because it's really a battle of attrition at the end of the day. There's going to be injuries from all sides. And so
Sure.
we just got to make sure next man up that we can have some confidence in them.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. Like, this is the time of year, especially for the younger players to get some playing time. I don't think they're even going to fall to 4. They're about 4 games up on the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Bucks have a much harder schedule than the Knicks. Like, the Knicks are coming into a much lighter part of the schedule once they get back from Golden State. And, we know Payne. We know what Payne is made of. Shamet, as you said, he is playing better. But I like to see Dottier get some more minutes. Even though he's 18, he was projected to be more of a longer-term investment. But him, Kolick, Hawkporty, even when he's healthy, because those are the guys, when you look at the limited resources that this team has to deal with within this championship window, those are the guys who you're going to have to hope can be long-term bench rotation pieces for you that can contribute. They're going to be crucial.
Or even build value.
Because,
if no one sees Tyler Kolick perform, he can't become
can't trade him.
Emmanuel Quickly and, RJ Barrett. Like, the reason why RJ Barrett got really, obviously he was 3rd pick. He should have, but he was thrown to the fire. He eventually got really good to the point that we could trade him and get a guy like OG.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not, but I don't want to go too deep into that. But ultimately, we gotta play these guys. And I think now is the time to do it. I don't want to go back to the whole TJ Warren, but I know that guy's a bucket. And he's the type of guy that you need on your team to come in and be able to not have that drop offensively.
Yeah, great points there. And as I've always said, especially your younger players, you either have to know that, are they helping us win games, or are they helping us, achieve our goals, or are they going to help us get somebody better in here? And you're not going to know that until they actually get into a run and you can see what they're made of. So we'll see once those guys get their opportunity. CP the Franchise, we are talking with Dr. Philip McDaniel, a.k.a. Dr. X. So to everybody in the chat once again on this Friday episode of the KnicksFanTV and Bleacher Report simulcast. Shout out to, I think this is Jai, $5 super chat. Says, shout out to Mount Vernon, SDA Philip. LOL, cool to see you here. Congrats to you and your wife on everything. So I guess he's a fan of you, or the
Who's that?
The name is Jai. Jai on the YouTube side. Shout out to Jai. Jaii. Yeah.
Give me the full name.
That's it. That's all I see. Yeah. So
okay.
What was the SDA is relevant to?
Oh, that's my religion. I'm Christian.
Okay.
7-day Adventist.
Okay. I didn't know it was short for that. Okay, yeah, I'm familiar for sure. Okay, so maybe there's somebody you went to church with.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Mount Vernon.
Wow. Okay, small world.
It's my home church.
Yeah, small world. Okay, so shout out to Jai for sure. Jalen, that's what they said. They're correcting it. Jalen.
Okay.
Yeah, Jailynn.
Yes.
Yeah, Jalen. So shout out to Jalen. So we go back to your Mount Vernon days, or your early days of Knicks fandom. Who was your guy?
Mm-hmm.
Who was your team, man? What made you get into the team like that?
Bro, so both my parents are Jamaican.
Oh, yes. Yo, big up yourself, man. My parents too, man. My whole family, bro.
Exactly. So I was I think I was 10 or so. I'm 45 now.
Okay.
But I think at the time the Knicks were in the playoffs against the Detroit Pistons, and they hadn't crossed that bump yet to get over the Pistons. Remember?
Yeah.
And my cousin just came back from college. He's 10 years older than I am, and he got us into the Knicks. Because playoffs is going to be on regular TV now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, Patrick Ewing, he's Jamaican, and blah, 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 blah. And, so we were all watching, who this guy is. And that's what got me into it. From that point on, it was on. So I was always going for the Knicks versus the Bulls. And there was always those kids in your class, after we would lose the series, the train, the bus, going back to school.
Yeah.
There's a couple Bulls fans in every class.
Always,
I was
man.
how are you guys Bulls fans? I never understood that. So, I was a diehard Knicks fan from way back. Yeah. Way back.
Well, when I tell my origin story and I go on and I talk about the origins of KnicksFanTV, that's what I tell them, because, there's a country pride, there's a cultural pride with Jamaicans that no matter what industry, no matter what field you in, we don't even got to know each other personally, but we rocking, we riding with you. Whatever you doing, we wishing like we on your team. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
when Olympics come, it's Usain Bolt time. Like we locked in.
Yep.
So that was
So
me.
you had Jamaican as well?
Of course, yeah, my whole family through and through.
That's
So,
what's up. Love
NBA on NBC, those Sundays you get back from church, like you locked in, and my aunt is going crazy. She in the background, and the Knicks Bulls rivalries, but you going for you, and you want to see him win that ring, man, and because it's blood, sweat, and tears. He's putting his whole heart and soul into it. So we were riding with him ever since. You know what I mean?
Yep. Those are the good old days, man. So yeah, I mean that's the origin story. And sometimes you got to see battles like that to really become a super fan. And so that's what I saw. It's like they finally got over the hump with the Detroit Pistons. Then it was the Bulls. And then we had to wait for Michael Jordan to retire to finally go to the finals.
Yeah.
Against the Houston Rockets, and the whole OJ thing happened. My sister was graduating at the time, and it was crazy time. Like I will never forget that. 94, 95.
I will never forget it, bro. I would absolutely never forget it, man. Yo, all my Jamaicans in the chat, man. Throw a flag in the chat. Let us know you're in here, man. They always in here. And, my aunt, my parents, they're big time KnicksFanTV recruiters. So when they go out and when they're in the streets, wherever they at, they always bringing people in here. So
I love it.
Yeah, so big up to everybody in Jamaica for sure. We got a big fan base out there rocking with us. And let's talk about ownership, man, because you have your own practice there in primetime radiology. It's called.
Yep, correct.
Primetime radiology. Talk about that, man. How did you start that?
Well, I appreciate the spotlight. So I'm a physician, medical doctor. I specialize in radiology, and I trained at University of Connecticut. So I went to UConn for medical school on a full ride academic scholarship.
There you go.
And then I did all my training in New York for my residency. It was a Staten Island University Hospital, part of the Northwell hospital system now. And then I went on to do my fellowship at Duke University in sports medicine radiology. And so, it's just training me to interpret and diagnose injuries using MRIs, ultrasounds, CT scans, X-rays, and also do general radiology in general. So also have a teleradiologist. I'm a teleradiologist, meaning that I work from home, and I have like 40 plus medical licenses, including California, New York, Florida, all the big states and all the states in between.
Okay.
And so I'm able to work from home and able to help. And there's, and doing that, I'm able to sometimes see some pro players as well as teams, colleges in all states. I used to read for the Chicago Bears, Atlanta Hawks, different teams from different states.
Gotcha.
So I'm seeing all these sports and things of that nature.
Okay, that's what's up, man. So what made you start the practice versus did you start off like working under previous physicians before you started the practice, or how did you ultimately start your own?
Oh, I just started my own because I was working in a hospital, and I just felt like with my specialty, I needed to see my specialty more. So when you're in a hospital, you get like a lot of ER stuff, a lot of chronic cases and stuff like that. So I didn't want that Duke education to go to waste.
Sure.
So I in the middle, like prior to the pandemic, I got all these licenses, and then when the pandemic hit, I even upped it more. And so I was able to just work 100% from home. So I've been working from home since 2014. I quarantined myself 2014.
Yeah.
I've been a teleradiologist for a while. So working from home, I already knew the hack to the system. I was like, man, this is where it's at. And God has blessed me to get some really good contracts and to really work with some really good people and to just expand my reach.
That's a beautiful thing, man. So during the pandemic, and that's definitely a time when, including myself, that's time when a lot of people, had to pivot, retool, and there you go, man. Now you have your own practice and you're going strong. Now, June of 2023, now another big milestone for you. You purchased the owner of the LA Ignite of the TBL, aka the basketball league. Tell us about that, man.
Yeah, man, that was a blessing. It's a ministry first. So I had a ministry called Ignite LA before, and it was just like a really centered around community service and dealing with the homeless population or I should say the unhoused community in LA. And that's dear to my heart. And what I decided to do, I was helping out someone that was trying to do some camps or try to get on the G League squad. And then one time he was like, hey, I'm trying to get on this TBL team and I never heard of it. So I looked it up called the commissioner, just wanted to hear more about the league, and then he kind of pitched me on owning a team, and I was just like, man, they don't have they had an LA team, but they weren't coming back, so I was just like, let me see what we have here, and I eventually, after having several meetings with them, I was convinced that it's more of a ministry and it's helping kind of bridge the gap. It's a showcase league that's allowing guys to get exposure into the G League and the NBA. And there's every year you'll see about 4 or 5 players from the TBL in the NBA or G League. There's a guy from every time I keep on forgetting his name, but from the Golden State Warriors, dude with the braids.
What the?
He'll come back to me now, but
Okay.
he was there. He just got traded. He was a part of that trade, but he was, those are the type of players who are fringe players that could
Yeah.
possibly make it and just need that second chance. So I purchased a team there, but we also went on to the basketball tournament. So
Yeah.
that's going to be an announcement later on, actually on Monday, that we're going to be back in the basketball tournament. So that's where we primarily play now, is the tournament. We
Okay.
also filmed everything from the beginning, so it's going to be a docu-series, kind of like a Last Chance U,
It's great.
just showing that, these guys and their journey to try to make it to the next level.
That's a beautiful thing, man. And the TBT, that's the tournament where it's a $1 million prize. So
Yes, sir.
so basically your entire team is going to be entered into the TBT. Is that how it works?
Correct. The highest stakes, one of the highest stakes tournament in the world, for $1 million. And we were there last year as well. We played against Bleed Green. We were pretty good till the first half. Second half, they caught up, and they had more experience in their belt. But it's the Elam, home of the Elam ending. It's a very good. It's on Fox Sports One.
Yeah.
It was on ESPN for like 10 years prior. So a lot of college alumni teams. So last year, Jared Sullinger, in Ohio, alum, won that game, won the whole thing. But I think last year they had Willie Cauley-Stein in Kentucky, and then for Louisville, he had a guy, Montrezl Harrell.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so there's I think Darren Collison was a part of it too. He was on one of the teams. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. And then I have another team I'm submitting this year, as first year. Our inaugural year will be with the X-Rated Sports Network. So we're going to be focused on having a lot of like pro players, G League, ex-G League players, pro players overseas, and some insta famous pro players that are good enough to play in this tournament. And so my guy B Dot and I are going to be trying to put together a team that's going to be competitive for this tournament.
Really good stuff. Now, was Ty Lawson part of the team, part of LA Ignite?
He was a
Okay.
part of the Ignite. He had a personal matter that he had to attend to,
Got you.
so he didn't end up playing in the game. But yeah, good
Yeah.
dude, and he helped build up the team our inaugural year. Gave us a couple names of good players.
Got you. What's your ownership style like with the Ignite, man? Are you the James Dolan of the Los Angeles Ignite? Like, are you hands on? Are you involved?
I'm very involved.
Yeah.
I'm more like Mark Cuban.
Okay. All right. All right.
I draw a fine line. I'm not their friend, but they feel comfortable enough to call me
Yeah.
and talk to me. Like, there's a bad practice, someone left a little early, a fight almost broke out, or they don't agree with this person, that person. I'm usually the first person they call. And it's more like a big brother thing. Just trying to sometimes get them to see both perspectives, try to get them, in the straight and narrow, just to see the bigger picture, not lose their cool, not mess up opportunities if when it's not necessary. And but I really enjoy it. My wife has also helped me with that as well. It's a big part of it in terms of like just sometimes we have to do phone calls with these players and the coaches sometimes, and just getting
Little
them
mediation.
to be on the same page. Yeah, exactly. And so sometimes you just got to let cooler heads prevail and really see the big picture, and just ultimately remember to lead with love, lead with kindness.
Sure.
And we can all grow from a situation. It doesn't always have to be smoke and issues and beef. So but it's been a good journey. Like a lot of the guys, we still keep in contact to this day, as we're going into the next TBT side of things. And it's been a blessing. It's been truly a blessing to be a part of their lives.
That's great. Now, in terms of injury management, are you rolling prime time into like how when players get injured and things of that nature? Like, are they coming to see you guys at prime
Of
time
course.
radiology?
I still get calls, some
Yeah.
people to get MRIs. So I have access to several imaging centers throughout the country. So whenever someone needs an MRI, I always like hook them up for free on the
Yeah.
house, whenever possible. And so they'll either want my advice or need an MRI. But we also have a really good physical therapist. Her name is Melissa Livingston.
Hmm.
And so Dr. Livingston. So she's tapped in. She works with the Wasserman rookies
Hmm.
every year and the Wasserman family. So Shay's at the gym that we do our training at.
Hmm.
The guard whisperer, Olin Simplest, he trains out of that gym.
Hmm.
So a lot of the Wasserman guys are there, a lot of the rookies. So we get to see them, but we also have world-class treatment for our players and athletes.
That's what's up, man. And talk about the content play a little more. I know you're talking about you're going to do kind of a docuseries kind of documenting the team, but is that kind of the goal of how you want to kind of leverage X-Rated Sports Network is to build more content around the team?
Man, X-Ray Sports Network is really just for fun, man.
Mm.
I had this idea, with my experience with NBA TV and breaking down injuries and stuff like that. It just became a part of me. It's just something I wanted to do, just talk sports and talk everything. So I built this studio here, where I live, and it's just been a blessing to kind of like just collab, have a
Mm.
platform to highlight other people's gifts, highlight other people's talents. So a lot of my co-hosts are people who are doing this already too. My cousin Dwight Walton, he played
Mm.
overseas. He played on the Canadian national team with Steve Nash,
Hmm.
and he's a Canadian, great Hall of Famer. And he's my first cousin. He's on the show with me. My
Hmm.
other friend, B. Dot Brandon Armstrong. He's pro player as well as an IG
Hmm.
personality that he was famous. He got famous for like imitating Russell Westbrook and all those guys. And
Yeah.
so yeah, B. Dot is on as well. My guy AM Pfeffer. He's a New York local that lives in LA as well, but he
Hmm.
mostly talks Jets, but he knows all sports.
Hmm.
So it's just been a beautiful platform just to highlight sports, to kind of keep that side of me alive, just
Yeah.
have it's a hobby. But I do, yeah, I mean, we are excited about the docu-series for Los Angeles Ignite.
Hmm.
And as we're building out both teams, we do plan on having some of the players tell their journey and their story on the show, and highlight a lot of that in some of our interviews.
Yeah, that's definitely a great idea, man. And look, next time I'm in LA, I'm pulling up to the studio, man.
Definitely,
have a
brother.
session.
Anytime.
Studios definitely fire. I see you got the John Starks dunk back there, like I
Yeah,
got back here. So you know what I mean? There's definitely alignment.
absolutely.
My guy TM, we call him the chief moderating officer at KnicksFanTV. He's the moderator of a lot of our platforms. He said it looks like we're in the same. He said he looks like we're in the same studio. Just based on the
Yeah.
lighting and the aesthetic. So great
I was
takes,
trying to
man.
be cool like you, bro. I was like,
Yeah.
let me get this lighting right.
Yeah, there you go, man. Well, listen, man, I definitely enjoyed this session. Great show. This is just the intro show. So you definitely got to
Definitely,
come
brother.
back, especially playoff time when we do our roundtables and whatnot, and dish on the squad, man. But definitely appreciate the insight. Best of luck to you in all your endeavors as well. We'll be locked in, man, for sure.
Thank you, CP. It was a pleasure having me on, man. And we'll always be in contact. And hey, whenever you're in town, definitely come on the show, bro. We're here for you.
We
Thank
in
you,
there,
man.
man. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, that
Correct.
was our guy, Dr. X, a.k.a. Dr. Philip McDonald, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel, man. That was another insightful KFTV interview, man. Let me know what you guys think. Salute to everybody in the chat. Throw some fives in the chat. I thought that was a 5-star interview. What do you guys think there, man? And if, like I said, as we do these shows, if there's other people that you want us to have on, any other requests, we do take requests, like Showtime at the Apollo or something. Let us know what you guys think, man. It's a nice Friday night show on the Bleacher Report Live. The best thing is that, as Knicks fans, we got people all over the country, all over the world, all different walks of life, and doing some big things, man. So, yeah, we could talk sports. We could talk about the Knicks and talk about the team. But I like to talk to high achievers, man. As you guys know, I like to talk about high achievers, and hopefully we can inspire somebody else at home that's watching. Maybe they want to follow a similar journey or, get some game, get some gems, right? That's what life is all about. There's no point in all of us holding it all in. You know, we got to get out and extract those gems and share it with the next generation or with those who want to listen. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. What's going on with St. John's? St. John's and Marquette going on with the Big East. I got to tap into that. What's going on with the Johnnies? Rhyme Animal Chuck D, I see you in the chat. Salute to you. John Altaray said CP, a.k.a. the Sandman. Yeah, man. Shout out to Sandman Sims. I think his last name was Sims. Shout out to Sandman Sims and the old Apollo. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so just to set the scene. So now, 8:45, we're going to have Game of the Week preview with Golden State. Shout out to Alex and our colleague, Natalie Esquire, covers the Golden State Warriors for NBC Sports San Francisco, NBC Bay Area. So shout out to Natalie. She's going to join us and tap in on the Warriors. Saturday we'll do play-by-play with JD. JD will be hosting play-by-play. And then we'll do post-game live on Saturday night. Sunday, we're going to do Knicks Weekly. My guy Bailey Lau is going to check in. We're going to do some film breakdown on this new look Knick offense. So we'll do some film breakdown. And then, you guys been requesting it, I gotta break down this James Dolan Roommates podcast. A lot of gems in there. So a lot of people been telling me, CP, you gotta react to this. So we're gonna bring back the reaction show and react to the Dolan Roommates podcast. All right, so we got an action-packed weekend. Hopefully you guys keep it locked with us. Whatever you guys are doing this weekend, make sure you enjoy it. At Slim D, $20 super chat. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for the love. Everybody on Bleacher Report, we appreciate you. Instagram, we appreciate you as well. They said, get Leon on here. Okay, all right. You know, maybe it's time to tap into the CAA connections and get Leon in here. We'll see. Maybe we can pull a rabbit out of a hat. We'll see, man. There's nothing that can't be done here on the number one show for the fans by the fans. We serve the people here. All right? My 2 cents. I appreciate you. TM. You see, TM says watch along. But TM, I feel like, you know, it's an hour and a half interview. I feel like we got to pull out the gems. You know what I'm saying? And then react to it. If you just do a watch along, then react to everything, I think that might be a little timely. But TM, hit me in the Slack, and we'll talk about it, and we'll sort it out. P. McG, I see you in here, man. I see you in here. Rick Pitino, that's on my list. Rick Pitino is on my hit list. I'm trying. Trust me, I'm trying, man. So we'll get him. We're going to get him in due time. We got to get Rick Pitino on here to talk about the incredible job that he's doing with the Johnnies. And as well as, you know, old Knicks stories, the bomb squad. We got to talk to Rick. Anyway, man, shout out to our sponsor of today's show. You guys know it well. Shout out to Michael White. Skims, the official underwear partner of the NBA, as well as KnicksFanTV. Shout out to Skims, man. They've been holding me down. They make, for the men's collection, is really good. I mean, they have not just underwear, but athletic apparel, T-shirts, boxers, briefs, pajamas, socks, whatever you need. And I would recommend the 5-inch boxer briefs, man. 5-inch boxer briefs, very comfortable material. They almost fit like tights. They're like athletic tights. So get your boxer briefs on, and they're very versatile, man. You can hoop in them. You could work out in them, play basketball, ride your bike, whatever you need, and they're very comfortable. So I definitely recommend it. So what I would do is go to skims.com, shop the collection, men's or women's, whatever you need, and then they're going to send you a post-purchase survey in terms of how you heard about them. So all you do is just let them know. You click on podcast, and then you click on KnicksFanTV. And simple enough, man. Simple enough. So shout out to Skims for sponsoring us on today's show. And make sure you guys check them out. Skims.com. Shout out to Kim K, man. But as I said, you don't have to just go with the boxer briefs. They got a ton of stuff, man. A ton of dope apparel there. T-shirts, sweatshirts, whatever you guys into. Boxes. You guys do the damn thing. Okay? Rashidi Aiken says, CP, give me a shout out, please. All right, Rashidi, man. Salute to you, man. Friday night. You know what I'm saying? All right. Bleacher Report, we'll sign off with you. Facebook, salute to you guys. Sean Joseph, peace. Vincent Crawford, peace to you. John Torre, I see you on both platforms. IG, I'll see you guys. Hooper USA says, get Thibs on here. You know, Thibs ain't doing nothing until offseason anyway, but hey, anything is possible, man. Anything is possible with the number one show for the fans, by the fans. Okay? All right, there we go, man. All right, guys, so we'll tap in. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to all the franchise channel members. And we'll see you guys later on tonight, 8:45 p.m. Like, share, subscribe. Hey, we closing in on 90,000. Don't sleep. We are closing in on 90,000 subscribers, all right? Thanks again to Dr. X. We out of here. Peace.